Many thanks for joining us. Now, as Kenyans celebrated Christmas in various parts of the country, Baragoi in Samburu North is mourning the death of 4 people as cattle rustlers returned to the area. Several others were injured in the Monday night incident. While residents are worried about their protection as the attacks are taking place despite the heavy presence of police and military personnel.
Tension is high in Iwasarongai, a center located 24 kilometers from Baragoi town, as residents of the area woke up to yet another attack from cattle rustlers. This time round, the heavily armed raiders killed 4 people and took away 266 animals. The sophisticated weapons carried by the attackers made the villagers suspect that they could be using police weapons that could have belonged to the slain officers who were attacked by bandits in Suguta Valley on October 10th that have never been recovered. The injured, most of whom had gunshot wounds, were rushed to Baragoi Hospital, with 3 people who were critically injured being transferred to Maralal Hospital for further treatment. The attacks come barely a week after renewed clashes at another violence hotspot, the Tana Delta, that left over 40 people dead. What is puzzling is that in both areas, the attacks are being carried out despite the heavy presence of Kenya Defence Forces officers and police who only step in after the villages have been raided to restore order.
That I will be faithful and be a true allegiance.
Only yesterday, the new Inspector General of Police, David Kimayo, assumed office, and all eyes will be on him to see how he handles the recurring clashes in these 2 areas. Willie Sangira, KTN Prime.
Well, Christians of all ages attended church services across the country early this morning as they commemorated the birth of Jesus. The message from the church leaders was one of maintaining peace as the country heads towards the elections. KTN's Wilkis Tanyabwa reports.
The sound of the organ accompanying the choir rang out from the All Saints Cathedral in Nairobi as Christian faithful who had gathered here on Christmas morning to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ sang Christmas carols. Such scenes would be replicated in churches across the country as Christians streamed into various churches to attend early morning church services. In the face of the upcoming elections and the incidents of insecurity, the message of peace rang out. Even as the country heads towards the next elections, Kenyans now taking a break to celebrate Christmas Day and messages of peace ringing out across the country.
In Kenya, we are experiencing insecurity. We have started experiencing clashes, and we do not want this to continue. So we ask for us today to be born with a new Jesus, so that we can have peace.
I'm hoping for a peaceful election, and I just want people to vote fairly well,
A message that would be repeated at the Holy Family Basilica by John Cardinal Njue. He urged Kenyans to think carefully about the leaders they intended to vote for and not to allow themselves to be divided along tribal lines.
There is going to be campaigns and what have you. Listen very, 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 very carefully to what is said. And ask yourself before you swallow what is being said, whether it is there really to build, whether it is there to kind of bring us together, or is there anything that is not compatible with what really we would want this nation to be.
In Kawangware, the Apostolic Pentecostal Evangelism Congregation would celebrate the holiday in their own way. Here the birth of Christ was marked with chants to the beat of drums. And after the morning's church services, many are now planning how to spend the rest of the festive period.
We are just happy today. After here, we are going to have some lunch, some heavy lunch, just to appreciate the birth of Jesus, and even my daughter's baptism. and the godmother.
This year, Christmas came just over 2 months before the March 4th date set for the elections, and clergymen were spreading the message of the birth of Christ as well as preaching peace on earth among men. Bulkistanyabwa, KTN Prime.
In the same spirit of peace, Pope Benedict XVI, in his Christmas message, decried the recent attacks in Kenya that have targeted places of worship, saying that people should never lose hope for peace. And as Christians marked the special day, politicians were not left out either. Leading political lights shelved their campaigns, opting to share Christmas festivities with faithfuls in various churches across the country. The leaders wished Kenyans a Merry Christmas and a transformative year ahead as the country heads to the polls. One message cut across the leaders' speeches, and that was the need for Kenyans to ensure their safety as they celebrate the Christmas festivity. Reports.
Political leaders took a break off their campaign schedules to celebrate Christmas festivities, urging Kenyans to be vigilant of their security. However, they did not take a break off politics.
Usijaribu kuangalia mtu ati yeye ni mzee, yule ambaye hamchi movie hajui hali ya maisha. Manake wale unaona wazee ndio wako na experience ambayo wanaweza kuendesha mambo katika nchi yetu.
Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka was in Nairobi and attended a Christmas service at Nairobi Chapel, where he called on drivers and road users to be extra vigilant and observe the state traffic regulations to avoid loss of life in accidents, as many Kenyans are traveling to celebrate Christmas with their families and friends.
I know a lot of Kenyans have traveled up country. I want to ask that they drive safely and observe all the traffic regulations, particularly the new regulations, so that we can have a season, a Christmas season, which will be devoid of accidents that we have always known in the past.
In Eldoret North MP William Ruto, after attending a church service at AIC Cheremei, Uasin Gishu County, called on security agencies in the country to be on high alert to ensure Kenyans of their security during the festive season.
Wale wote ambao ni jukumu lao kuhakikisha kwamba kuna usalama Kenya, tunataka pia wakati tunawatakia Christmas njema, pia wachukue jukumu zao kwa makini.
Elsewhere in Kitale, Justice Minister Eugene Wamalwa was rather making a political statement.
Kwa sasa tumesema katika muungano wa Pambazuka nimepewa heshima hiyo ya kubeba bendera yetu, na upande wa Mheshimiwa Peter Kenneth na Raphael Tuju bado wanazungumza, na tayari tumeanza mazungumzo kati yao na muungano wetu.
Meanwhile, Peter Kenneth was championing for the Eagle Alliance in Mombasa. After attending a Christmas service, Kenneth promised that the Eagle Alliance will transform the country's critical sectors of health, security, and improve the socio-economic fabric of the country.
Kenyans will choose what is right. My hope is that Kenyans will elect what is right. Kenya requires the right people, not the popular people.
Samogina, KTN Prime.
Well, for some Nairobians, the Christmas celebration started last night as they ushered in the festive season with pomp and style. Various nightclubs were filled to capacity, while some chose to spend their time in church giving thanks. And as the birth of Jesus was celebrated, 3 mothers at the Pumwani Hospital had a celebration of the new bundles of joy. KTN Sofia Wanuna reports.
Christmas Eve in the capital. Celebrations began with the lighting of the mayor's Christmas tree at the KICC by Nairobi Mayor George Aladwa. The mayor also received donations from 3 organizations meant to assist the less fortunate. Faithful thronged various churches giving thanks, celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ.
I've enjoyed coming to the Christmas evening carols. The carols were lovely, and we thank God. We pray that we'll have a good year.
And so this Christmas is very special, a time for all of us to look for peace, to keep the peace, and to expect God's power in the new year that is coming.
At the same time, nightclubs were filled to capacity, ushering in Christmas the best way they knew how. At Pumwani Hospital, minutes after midnight, 3 newborns, their mothers elated.
Leo nasikia tu poa, naweza kumthank God. Sikuwa nikitarajia kama naweza pata mtoto saa 6:30.
I would just like to tell God thank you for everything that He has done for me. I didn't expect it.
Meanwhile, in the streets of Nairobi, for these sex workers, it was business as usual. With 5 days to go to the end of the year, most Kenyans said they would spend the day with their loved ones. Sophia Wanuna, KTN.
Well, some Nairobi residents did not travel out of town for Christmas, and for most of them, despite the high cost of living and the rising cases of insecurity, they put all their troubles aside and spent the day with family and friends in various amusement parks. Catherine Omwando reports.
It's Christmas Day in Nairobi, and those who did not manage to go to their rural homes spent the day with their loved ones in various places within the city, the most popular being Uhuru Park. The park was filled to capacity.
Christmas ni poa. Ingawaje watu wana pesa lakini wanajikaza kupata ile kidogo yenye wako nayo ili wajivinjari na familia yao.
Ni vile fare ilikuwa juu kidogo, saa iliona wacha nikae na watoto pia niwalete hapa na hapo Uhuru Park pia wa enjoy kidogo.
The tough economic times did not in any way dampen the Christmas spirit. Adults and children alike enjoyed the various interesting activities Uhuru Park had to offer. From horse rides to Ferris wheels that seemed to have been a big hit among those who came to the park.
Ningependa tu kusalimia wazazi wangu nyumbani, niwaambie tu enjoy Christmas.
At Rock City, families flocked to the gardens to spend the day together. There was cake, meat, and from the looks of it, lots of laughter and joy, in line with the Christmas spirit. Wherever they were, whoever they were, Kenyans celebrated Christmas the best way they could. Catherine Omwando, KTN.
And as Kenyans celebrated around the country, one city was on high alert, the city of Mombasa. Security in the coastal city had been beefed up as both domestic and international tourists checked in for the festive season. And as Patrick Amimo reports, no chances were being taken, even at the normally relaxed public beaches.
There was traffic snarl up along Mombasa Malindi Road as revelers flocked to the Jomo Kenyatta public beach. Mombasa has recorded high numbers of domestic tourists who have traveled to the coast for the festive season. The public beach is one of the attractive spots where people can enjoy swimming in the ocean's salty waters, besides other attractions for children. But even as they enjoyed the holidays, the public was urged to be extra vigilant and alert security agencies of any threats to security.
Neno ya Tana Delta isitishe mtu kukosa kuja Mombasa. Mombasa iko salama.
Parents were advised to pay special attention to their children while swimming in the ocean, for they may be lured by the blue waters to venture into the deep sea and drown. The West was strongly advised against issuing travel advisories to its citizens keen to visit Kenya over claims of insecurity.
Serikali tena hapa imekuja kuweka security tena. Sasa naomba nyinyi mko Nairobi, kujeni Mombasa, hakuna wasiwasi yote.
Hotels in Coast have registered almost 100% increase in bookings during the festive season from domestic and international visitors, a sure sign that, despite the security concerns, the confidence remains. Patrick Amimo, KTN Prime.
Reports reaching KTN indicate that customers of various banks have had money withdrawn from their accounts by unknown individuals, prompting the banks to issue alerts advising customers to change their PIN. Following the incidents, customers are now being advised to take precautionary measures to protect their PIN and ATM cards at all times, including watching out for any irregularity when using the ATMs or if any suspicious device has been installed at the card insertion slot. Most victims who spoke to KTN said that their money had been refunded by the banks. It is thought that banks are suffering silently but are reluctant to report the fraud for fear of losing their customers. And now to a unique initiative that is helping to curb the human-wildlife conflict. Every time a Maasai age set is initiated, it is expected that a true Moran should kill a lion. But a group of conservationists are now seeking to change this tradition that threatens the population of the king of the jungle. And who better to spearhead the crusade than the king of the track, 800 meters world record holder, David Rudisha.
The transition to manhood is something the Maasai community celebrates. A tradition so important to them, it has withstood the test of time and modernization. After this initiation ceremony, a Maasai man is expected to hunt down the most ferocious of wild animals, the lion, with a spear and take home some evidence. Those who are not lucky enough to kill a lion will turn to any animal in the jungle.
They say that sometimes we go spearing lions, and when we miss them and when we bump into any animal on the way, we spear them because we don't want to go back home. And the ladies will see us coming back home with their spears with no blood.
That the Maasai young warrior would like to kill a lion to show himself in front of the other people how brave he is and how strong he is in the community.
It is a tradition that constantly puts the Maasai at loggerheads with wildlife conservationists.
Thank you,
But now there appears to be a truce. 800 meters world record holder and Olympic champion David Rudisha, who is a Maasai, shows the upcoming Morans a new way to show bravery and spare the wildlife. The javelin replaces the spear. Apart from a spear, a Moran arms himself with a wooden club and a sword. The conservationists have also come up with a club throwing competition. So, are the Morans ready to abandon something they are known for the world over for a sport? Perhaps time will tell. Ansul Mwendia, KTN Prime.